And welcome to another edition of Automated's 5-Minute Automations. The purpose of these videos is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at some of the automations that you can set up within your business and implement them to improve the efficiency of your marketing. I'm Mark, and today we're going to look at segmenting your subscribers in order to be able to provide them more personalized content in the future. What we'll do is we'll start with some examples from Calendly and ConvertKit. I'll then show you the email that you would then create to send out to your subscribers, and then the automation behind the scenes that's looking for the way to segment each one of these subscribers, and then talk about some of the potential ideas you could take or ways that you could improve this from there. So to begin with, this is just a screenshot from an email from ConvertKit where they sent out an email and they asked me to click on, or asked the subscriber to click on one click link that best describes them or you. So as you can see, there's several options here, and what they're really trying to do is identify where you are in terms of your journey of your list subscribers and how you would best use ConvertKit. Obviously, if I'm just starting out with 0 to 100 subscribers, I'm going to need very different advice and content compared to somebody who's got 25,000 plus subscribers, and vice versa. Now, I haven't seen what's happened yet. This was a relatively new email, and apologies, I can't find the full one. However, I can expect that I'm likely to receive the content related to 1,000 to 5,000 subscribers, as that's the link that I clicked just down here. So another example of this is Calendly. Now, I recently signed up to Calendly on a new domain that I'm using, and here what they've tried to do is get me to identify which type of person or which type of business use I have for Calendly. So am I sales and marketing, or am I within freelancers and consultants, or maybe I'm a recruiter and using it for interviews. And depending on which link that I clicked on, I was taken to a resource center effectively, which gave me information about how I could use Calendly for my particular use case. And I can imagine in the future, I've now been tagged as a sales and marketer, and therefore I'll receive blog posts and other content related to sales and marketing, and maybe showing me how other sales and marketers are using Calendly to their advantage. So there's a few examples, and hopefully you can think of some and how you could use them for your business. So what I want to show you now is the really simple automation that you can set up. In this video, I'm using user.com, and within most automation platforms, they have a very similar way of doing this. But I want to take you through the steps. So as ever, we start with a trigger, and the trigger is whether a page has been visited. And I'll go into this in a bit more detail in a second. Once we have a trigger, we also need an action. So the action is to add a contact to a list. Now, depending on your the tool that you're using, you may use tags. So, for example, ActiveCampaign uses tags as their way of segmentation, as well as lists. So within the tool, you could look for your actions, and then there should be tags here somewhere. Let me just see. My apologies. Yep, add a tag, and then I can simply add this here. And if they visited a page, then they could also be added a tag, and I need to configure this. Before I configure it, I'm just going to show you the email that you could send out, or a similar email that you could send out. So the use case for Automated is that within Automated, we talk to founders and we talk to people building automations that typically cover a number of different steps or objectives. And we can filter those down even further to acquiring new customers, engaging customers, or retaining customers. And they're typically the three main themes that come up time and time again when we're speaking to other founders and other marketers. So what we really want to do is build out more content for our own audience that is relevant to acquiring, engaging, and retaining. Now, if somebody is trying to nail their retention and improve their retention rates, acquisition may not be their biggest challenge at the moment. It's that retention. So we're not trying to avoid sending any irrelevant content because it still may be relevant to them. However, we're trying to prioritize the content that they receive. So this is just a simple email that I've mocked up for the purpose of this example. And what I've added here is 3 links which link to the various different pages within the automated site. However, there's a key step here which I need to show you, which is if I click on this link, and open it up, you can see the URL is the URL we want people to go to, so it's customer acquisition, acquiring customers. However, I've put an identifier tag on here, and effectively it's very similar to using a UTM campaign. I could have used a UTM campaign, but in this example, I've just put an identifier tag or attribute to the URL. Now, how that relates is that if I look at the page visit, so again, this is the trigger back in the automation. If I click here, we can see that the URL must equal, and here just to show you, simply change it to acquire, and then click save. So what will happen now is that as soon as somebody visits that page, then and it has that tag has the tag on the URL, they will be added to a list. And in this example, it's the interested in customer acquisition. And again, we can add a tag if your system uses tags. So list and tags can be used in the same way, depending on the automation platform that you're using. Now, if you're using a more of an all-in-one tool like a HubSpot, Marketo, or Pardot, you can actually put in custom content, and you would then be able to create one email and then put a dynamic block within that email. And then from that, it will send the relevant content to that dynamic block based on the tags that you've added. It's a little bit more complicated. I don't have access to that HubSpot at the moment, but if you're interested, I could take you through that in the future. So this can be used, as I said, to segment your subscribers so that you can make sure that you're sending them relevant content. If you're producing podcasts or if you're producing guides and they're focused on acquisition, then you know that the likelihood is that if you send them to the people that have marked themselves as interested in acquisition, that they'll open it and read it. So you'll improve your open rates, you'll improve your click-through rates, and ultimately you'll improve the amount of value you're able to give to people. So that's your 5-minute automation today. If you have any questions, please do leave a comment. team@automated.af.